I'm going to read you a report of the misconduct that I filed against the judges and the state's attorney, as well as the attorney general. And bear with me because my Lyme disease kicked in and I'm having a hard time seeing out of my left eye, so I have to keep on wetting it. And so therefore, before noontime on May 7th, there was a report made by the downstairs neighbor in an apartment 4 who came up over the stairs to the 3rd floor, where he could hear the domestic dispute and disturbance coming from apartment 8. Now that was Kevin abusing my daughter. So noting that was on May 7th and it was reported, why is it that Kevin wasn't charged? Okay. The deputy that showed up, I request that he be investigated for his lack of knowledge. Perhaps as I see it, I request answers as to why witnesses weren't questioned about the abuse. Okay? So, more of that, I request further investigation and charges against Kevin Bickford, hence the reports of yesterday, the restraining order filed against Kevin Bickford by myself that is in place for 1 year, and I request a thorough investigation into the fraudulent reports and statements, as well as a full investigation into the allegations and reports made by the witnesses that called in to be collected and acknowledged for criminal charges to be placed against Kevin Bickford for the illegal actions of misconduct, abuse, false statements, and fictitious reports that had been previously been reported and denied to be investigated by Essex County Sheriff's Department, as well as Vincent Aluzzi, Vermont State Police, and overseen by T.J. Donovan. I make note to all that this has previously been heard in a restraining order, shared to YouTube, in a hearing, and acknowledged by the judge that Bickford's actions are obviously enough to warrant criminal charges against him, as well as creditable witnesses that have been and have come forward that have had enough evidence that the Sheriff's Department in Vermont State Police have neglected to thoroughly investigate any claims and crimes. I further mention that Vincent Aluzzi has previously been sanctioned many times throughout his career and is a major conflict to the fact that it is an obvious perhaps he has committed crimes himself, apparently aiding and abetting and hindering cases. So anybody that's got cases with Vincent Aluzzi as the state's attorney or has had, y'all ought to be looking into his past, is my suggestion, because I've looked into it and that's why I brought it to attention. I further mentioned to this court that I have previously filed a restraining order against a Terry Kadori, and I never received a date for a fair hearing as I requested. I don't at this time request to go forward, but I do request an answer as to why I never received a date, knowing that I have a copy of the paper I filed that clearly advises that even though the initial restraining order may have been denied, I requested a fair hearing. I've been denied all of this. That's why I've been filing in federal court. Again, I make mention that there has been no contact made by a public defender in previous cases, which again is a violation clearly of my rights, because you see, I was supposed to have a court-appointed pretender, and well, it took them a long time to get me one, and then they made sure it was somebody that'd be a conflict and a conflict and a conflict, and now they try to say that I'm the problem. No, it's not me the problem. The problem is they continue to violate my rights by trying to give me somebody that is in violation of my rights to represent me, such as a senator, Joe Benning, He was court appointed to be my court appointed pretender? No, thank you. He's a senator. He's voted, elected in. That means he's supposed to work for me, not against me. And knowing that he gave an attitude right from the beginning and told me that he had more important cases than mine to deal with, knowing that mine was based on false reports, nothing's more important than that because they're all of equal importance. So therefore, he was a conflict of interest right from the get-go. Other than that, I request that Vincent Iluzzi be investigated, as well as the Vermont State Police, the dispatch, and the Essex County Sheriff's Department that received May 7, 2021 call to go to 109 Railroad Street, Island Pond, Vermont, 05846 for their lack of proper investigation and denial of right to press charges. I am a witness to what happened. The caller is a witness, and Al is on audio record from the time the yelling started to the time the police left, verifying everything that I say to be the truth, fact of occasion. I further have all reason to believe and none to doubt that everything that has been happening here is on a bias-based situation. I recall over the past couple months a lot of fictitious reports being made about me and no one contacting me to get any side of the story before coming at me with warrants for my arrest and charges demanding my appearance to answer to criminal reports made against me by a noted mental health person that takes medication, his paranoia and his schizophrenia, okay? And so, knowing that that's who's making the reports to the police and that's who the police are taking the reports from and acting on them, excuse me. However, the police were real quick to gain interest in trying to make a criminal based on allegations, knowing that they were false reports, as well as lack of existence, again, reported by a mental health borderline retarded client of Northeast Kingdom Human Services. I request an explanation as to why is this happening and why have these reports not been submitted, accepted, or investigated. Okay? So with that being said, it was signed and it was submitted. Now it's going to be resubmitted to everybody publicly across the nation, and I'm going to get it updated today with a notarization. So that there tells you why I have filed all of this. Guildhall Court misconduct, judge misconduct, Attorney General misconduct. Again, is copies of an FBI report that never made it to the FBI. Why is that? Again, there's another copy of a report that was written by somebody else, and it was all lies, and it was judge acknowledged. You see? Judge acknowledged. The police accepted false reports. So that means when they came to my house with a search warrant for these false reports, they came with a false search warrant. Knowingly and willingly. And they didn't even go anywhere past the kitchen table. Okay? So here, I'm going with this notarized again today and resubmitting it again to DC. Knowing that it's notarized and the stamp on the back for 2 cents, somebody's going to pay attention. Have a great day.